Hi all, it's a great pleasure to be here again in an SGP webinar. Today I have the great pleasure to have my friend Gonçalo Sanches from the Sharing School. We will be talking about Portugal as an option for the future, and as education is key, we will be talking about a very interesting project, the International Sharing School project. My name is Sandra Gomes Pinto. I'm a lawyer in Portugal for 30 years. I now have a boutique law firm related to real estate, visas, and relocation, and we cover all these matters. I do often held conferences about real estate, foreign investment in Portugal, tax benefits, and we at this moment our big role is to make life smoother for all of those who are moving to Portugal. I have Gonçalo Sanches. Gonçalo is a bright entrepreneur. He already has an extensive international curriculum. He holds an IB diploma. He was in the very well-known London Business School and also in the Green Institute, and he is the head of admissions and investment of the International Sharing School. Without further ado, we will also cover, because this is the word of the day and it is a very important theme, and we did receive lots of questions, we will do a brief summary about what is the new bill for the Golden Visa regime, which is important after so many contradictory informations that we had about this. So I will share screen and we'll talk briefly about this new regime. So a very important note, the Golden Visa is here to stay. So after announcing its end, now the government approved a bill saying that the Golden Visa will stay, and this is clear, and there is no doubts about this, and this is quite important because internationally there was a different idea that was spread. So the Golden Visa will remain, the Golden Visa is here to stay. I think it's quite important to speak about this. What are the novelties of the project? So the real estate investment will no longer be an option in all its forms, being real estate investment in low density areas with rehabilitation, real estate related funds. This will be completely out of this table. And also the money transfer that was not very used before will also no longer be an option. What will we have as an option for the Golden Visa? It is possible to do a donation in artistic production and cultural heritage in the amount of 250,000 euros. It's also possible to do an investment in investment funds or venture capital, and it's also possible to do an investment of 500,000 euros in scientific research. These funds, these possibilities of the scientific research and the artistic production were routes that were not used in the previous regime, but we believe that the industry and the players will explore and will develop projects suited for these possibilities. About the Golden Visa, it's important to clarify. So the program is here to stay, and this is important to repeat after internationally being the word spread that Portugal would end the Golden Visa regime. So the Golden Visa is here to stay. Real estate possibilities, which was one of the favorite investments, will no longer be an option, even if it is real estate funds, or even if it is low density areas, even if you are rehabilitating something, the real estate investment will no longer be eligible. It's important to clarify that all those that already applied for the Golden Visa are completely safe and their application will follow the previous regime. So this will remain like this. And people are safe, and all those that invested, they will keep the golden visa. It will not be transformed in any other type of visa. People will have the same right for family reunification, and renewals will follow the previous regime. So those who invested in golden visa can be secure that the regime will follow what they bought, what was announced to them, what was presented initially to them, and what they entered into. And this is very important after the contradictory announcements that the government made. What else have we here to say? So the government also announced something that was a little bit different than what we are used. So this law will have no period of grace. And it's important to remember that the law that entered into force in 2022 had almost a year of period of grace. So the investors and the players could adapt and could anticipate and could adapt their investments to the changes that would enter into force later. Now it's completely different. This law will have no period of grace, meaning that will enter into force immediately after its publication in our official journal, which is the Diário da República. In terms of how soon this law hasn't entered into force, and now it can enter sooner or later. Now the President of the Portuguese Republic has three options. He might receive the bill and ratify the bill, and it becomes a law within weeks. Then it's published and enters into force immediately after its publishment. The president might use something which is the political veto, and in this case the law will go back to the parliament and has to be approved by a qualified majority, and then later it's ratified, it's published, and it enters into force. But in this second option, it can take 1 to 2 months, or the president has doubts about the constitutionality of the diploma and asks the Constitutional Court for an evaluation. We know that there were some voices in of law professors that consider that some aspects of the law were not conform with the Constitution, namely the fact that there was no period of grace, because the legitimate expectancies of all those that invested in investments that no longer will be eligible for golden visa purposes will be somehow not, will be defrauded. People will not be respected. So that being said, at this point, I believe it is no longer safe until we know if there will be a political veto or there will be a constitutional analysis. I believe it's not safe to enter into a real estate investment for golden visa purposes. Now we do have to know how long it will take for the law to enter into force, and it might be quite soon. What else do I have to say about the golden visa? The generals about the golden visa. So the golden visa, as you all know, is one of the most successful programs of residencies through investment. It allows the persons to travel freely within the Schengen space without needing a visa. You can benefit for our non-habitual tax regime that has many benefits. Namely, if you are a pensionist, you can benefit for a 10% flat rate in respect of taxation of your pension. And also you will not be taxed in respect to the foreign passive income, and this is automatic. In the golden visa, you will only need to spend 7 days in Portugal per year. Although if you want to reside here, you are completely free to do so, but there is a lot of flexibility. Portugal is a very secure and safe country, and this is one of the feature more attractive about the country. it is possible to do a family reunification. So with one investment, you can bring up, in exceptional cases, up to 8 or 9 persons if you have a lot of children, and you can even bring your parents if they are dependent. After 5 years and of residing in Portugal, and if you meet also other requirements, there is an easy path, and easier than the majority of countries, an easy path for citizenship and for permanent residency. What else would I like to say about us here at SJP? We do like people, and it's easy to understand that we do like to talk with people, and we do like to do Zooms. So after so many years, we really like what we do. We can help our clients from A to Z in everything they needed relating to acquiring a property or moving to the country. And about Portugal is what probably you already know. So Portugal is one of the best places to retire, is the third one of the safest countries in the world. Some rankings say third, some rankings say fourth, but safety is one of the features that makes the country very attractive. And for some of our clients is one of the reasons that move them. The climate is great. The country is quite affordable. It's an extremely welcoming country. The proficiency is in English is very relevant. So it's in comparison to the developed countries, we rank also very well, and very well in comparison to Spain. And these are the features of the country that you probably know, but if you want to know more, just contact us and we'll come back to you. About the investment options for the Golden Visa, we have the investment in capital funds, the investment in business, in an existing business or creating a business along with the creation of jobs, the investment in national heritage and arts, and investment in scientific research. About us again, why you should contact us and why should we assist you professionally? We have 30 years of experience. We've helped, assisted professionally hundreds of clients successfully to move here. We are here to help you, to be of assistance and to solve your problems. And this is it. Now I will stop screen sharing and okay. And I will continue with my dear friend and my guest, Gonçalo Sanches, who is talking. And I would like to know, Gonçalo, is Portugal a country for the future? Tell me, do you believe it to raise kids, and will they have a professional future if they are here in Portugal?
Yeah, well, thanks a lot for inviting me, Sandra, and for having me over. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, and welcome to everybody that's joining the webinar from all over the world. So yeah, in fact, as we were mentioning, Portugal is in fact the country for the future. It's a country that's having a very big development in the last couple of years. I can say that in the last 5-6 years, the country has developed enormously. In the international school sector, especially, we see a big development here. The amount of international schools in Portugal 5 years ago compared to today is almost double. So there's really a big development here. There's a lot of international families coming to Portugal, a lot of foreign investment coming into the country, a lot of expansion in all sectors, from hotel, education, real estate, all sectors developing a lot. So it really is a country for the future. And the education doesn't stop just in schools, but also universities are improving a lot, and then a lot of international universities are opening hubs in Portugal. So the country is really developing a lot in this aspect.
Okay, great. And so if a couple or some family that moves here will not jeopardize their children's future if they come to Portugal?
Yeah, definitely they will not jeopardize the children's future. In fact, in Europe, a lot of in the past, the main countries where families would move for schooling, especially boarding schooling, were Switzerland and the UK. These were the most common countries back in the day. However, with the new changes, with the fact that the UK is not a part of the European Union anymore, families are shifting, and a lot of them are shifting to Portugal. And this is we have great schools here. We have great education systems here in the private international spectrum, and obviously this is very biased that we have a beautiful country, very sunny, very good food. So that also helps a lot.
Yes, I actually had the possibility to visit your school, and I really, with ocean view, having lunch, I really wanted to go back to high school and all those players. And how did you decide to create, how you and your family decided to create a school project? What's the story behind this?
Yeah, so the school project dates back to the 80s actually. So just to explain that to our listeners, the International Sharing School, we have two schools. One is in Lisbon and the other one is in Madeira Island. And initially, with my family, we are all from Madeira, and we are the creators of the International Sharing School, and we are, me and my brothers, we are four, and we are managing both schools and managing the projects and the developments. And initially, there was a British school in Madeira that was only for the locals and for the British families in Madeira, because we have a big British community there. And there was 40 students in the school, out of which from the 40 students, me and my brothers, we were four. And at the time, my dad had a lot of businesses, and the owner of the school, she said, she was a teacher, and she said, look, I just want to teach the kids, so you help me manage the school. I'll give it to you, you manage it, you take care of it, and just make sure it runs, and I'll take care of the students. Since 10% of them are already yours, just take the school. So my dad took the school, he managed the project a little bit it wasn't his specialty, so he didn't focus so much. Then later on, me and my brothers, we graduated, we went to study abroad, work abroad, then we came back to Portugal to grab this project and expand it and dedicate ourselves to it.
What are the core values of your school?
So here in the school, we focus a lot on three core values. First being multicultural. We have students from over 60 different nationalities here in the school, so we really have a very diverse environment, a very big multicultural environment. We emphasize a lot on this, in the fact that we don't want to have an international school that, let's say, is 40% Portuguese students and the rest international, because this would not be a true international school. So we focus a lot on this. This leads us to our second value, which is care. So caring a lot about each other, caring a lot about the environment, caring about the school space, caring about new families that are coming to Portugal and that operate in different ways, from different religions, different backgrounds, different ways of being. So caring for each other and caring about the world and each other, but also caring about themselves, caring about their body, caring about their mind. Our students, since grade 1, so since 6-7 years old, they have yoga in the curriculum. They have a golden hour once per week where they have some time to reflect on the week and think about how they can improve. So we focus a lot on taking care of themselves, of the environment, of the world, and prospering the most. And the last value is hospitality, which is something not so common in schools. Hospitality is more common in hotels. However, since we have families from all over the world and such an international community, we are as hospitable as we can to welcome these families into the country. A lot of the families that are coming to the country also don't know anyone in the country. They don't speak the local language. Everything is new for them. So we end up having a big community of international parents here in the school that stay together and that meet each other, and that end up creating the really nice environment here for international families.
I heard that you are about to create a club where the parents can socialize and can work remotely in that.
Yeah, maybe I can I have 2 or 3 slides that maybe I can share with you the project of the school. So just confirm that you can see my screen here.
Yes, I can, of course. Yes.
Perfect. So at the moment we have focusing first on the Lisbon school, which is it's in Oeiras. It's around the 15-20 minute drive from the center of Lisbon. And in this campus, here you can see the master plan of the campus. We have an area here of 140,000 square meters, which is approximately 35 acres for the Americans on the call. And in our campus, we have currently operating these 2 buildings over here. So this is building 1, which is where we started initially operations, and then we expanded here to building 2. And in between these 2 buildings, we have roughly 700 students at the moment. We have our sports facilities down here. So a football court, we have a skate park as well. And here we have also a big football court. So football is something very big in Portugal, so we had to invest a lot in this area as well. We are developing this building over here, which will be our building 3, which will help us increase our capacity for students. Since there's such a high demand, we will increase capacity from 700 students to 1,500 students. So we will double in capacity, essentially. On this building over here that we will this building we started construction. This building we will start construction in the near future, probably next year, which is our residences. So this is the residences for the students that are living in the country, but the parents are not living here, which again was very common in the UK and Switzerland. Now it's not so common anymore in these countries, and we believe Portugal will become very popular in the boarding here. So we will invest in boarding as well. And at last, this last building over here is essentially a sharing club, which is what Sandra was talking about, which is a building we are creating for the parents. Because we have such an international community here in the school and that spend a lot of time here in the school. So usually in the morning, the parents drop off their kids. They spend some time here taking a coffee with each other in our canteen, in our common areas. And so in order to help the parents, we have created this space for them to do that, for them to be able to co-work. We have a lot of international families. So sometimes they tell us, we have some celebration, some religious celebration happening. Could we use your school for together? And at the moment, we say yes, and they gather in the school. But in the future, they will have the sharing club, which will be exactly for that, for the parent and teachers group to meet, do their events and socialize there. And to show you some pictures of the school, we work with a group from Denmark called Rosenbosch. They are a group of teachers, researchers, architects, designers, psychologists that have helped us develop this whole space and the space for the students. So we are not a traditional school with the individual tables and the blackboard in the front, like most schools unfortunately are still operating. But we wanted to innovate the way that education works, because if we're looking at, for example, agriculture, aviation, manufacturing, these are all industries that have evolved a lot over the last couple of years. However, education is an industry that hasn't evolved much. So we really wanted to innovate here and do something very different. So this team has helped us develop this whole space. As you can see, it's almost like a Google office for a school. And this group has helped us develop the whole space. This group, usually they work with schools doing like a classroom or doing a library. And this is the first school that they did the full school from scratch until now. And this helps us a lot with the students and with having a nicer environment for the students to learn and a more interesting environment for the students to learn.
Okay.
Moving to our school in Madeira, which is our second school, which we are developing at the moment. So the school in Tagus Park now has 700 students, which we will increase that capacity to 1,500. The school in Madeira at the moment has 300 students, and we will increase this capacity to 700. So Madeira is an island, so of course the market is smaller. It's a smaller school. However, we have acquired a seminar. It used to be a priest school that has been this building is from 1905, and we acquired this building from the bishop in Madeira, and we are moving our facilities here, where we will have a very similar style to the school in Lisbon that we already have. And we will design it in a similar way, again with the same group of architects from Rosenbosch that are helping us design this whole space here. And just to give you one example before we finish here about the schools, about how the learning is done in our school. So because we follow the IB program, which is the only international curriculum. A lot of times international schools, when we talk about international schools, it's important to understand if it's an international school that's an American school or a Cambridge school. These schools, they're not international schools just because they are following the curriculum of a country. So the IB is really a world curriculum that world schools follow. And the IB is a very research-based approach. So the students are learning with the guidance of our teachers, as opposed to memorizing things to pass an exam. So we're not testing their memory skills. We are testing their knowledge and giving them knowledge. And one nice example actually that we had this year here with our students from grade 8, we were in a humanities class for one semester. We had a project where the students in groups, they had to create their own countries and create their own laws, create their own political systems, create their own social healthcare systems. And the students had to come up with all of this. So it was very interesting because the students had to, in the beginning, for example, everybody was saying, okay, healthcare is free, everything is free in our country. And then we were like, okay, so now we need to raise taxes in order for that to be free. So the students are like, oh, okay, we didn't know about that. So it's an interesting way for the students to learn, as opposed to telling them, okay, this is socialism, this is communism. It's more interesting for them to learn it by themselves, as opposed to us telling them something that they have to memorize to pass an exam. And even in the students, they started creating allies between the countries, even though we didn't speak about this in class yet, but they already started to understand that we do things similar, we can work together and we can create a partnership between our countries, which is very interesting for them to learn. And this is real life experiences, as opposed to a textbook theory that then they need to do an exam to show that they memorized something. And talking about the fund here, so what we have done in the sharing schools, we have taken our both the schools, and we have created a venture capital fund that is eligible for the Golden Visa investment. We have taken both schools. We have created this fund for the schools, and the goal of this fund is to help us develop and expand our project and expand our schools. So in relation with the fund, as you know, the funds have a minimum investment of 500,000 euro to be eligible for the Golden Visa. And with our funds, we get this investment from the Golden Visa. We pay our investors a guaranteed return of 4% per year. So when I say a guaranteed return, it means that it doesn't matter if the fund is producing 2% or 10% per year, the guaranteed return is 4%. And the reason why we did this is to give investors a safety and a guarantee that they will get this 4% regardless of how the fund is producing. So they are limited on the losses and limited on the gains, because it's a 4% fixed. And after the 6th year, which is the period you need to hold the investment to be able to get your residency with the Golden Visa program, after the 6th year, we buy back this investment from you. So essentially, you invest 500,000 euro. Over the 6 years, you get 4% per year. And at the 6th year, we buy this investment back from you after you have obtained the Golden Visa. And something actually very interesting also that happened here, in just to share the timeline from our fund and what happened in our fund. So usually in funds, what's usually happening is you create a fund and then you go buy companies and you grow. The interesting thing of our fund is when we created, we already had 2 operating companies operating at cruise speed. Which is not so common in venture capital funds. So we created the fund in July 2021. We did the first subscription in 2020 in August 21. And something very recently happened that was very good for our fund and for the students, for the investors, for the parents, and for everyone, which is we did a partial sale from our school in Lisbon to another fund, English fund, from English pension fund. And we did, because of this partial sale that we did to this English fund, we distributed dividends throughout our investors, and we were obliged also to distribute the dividends, of course, to the Golden Visa investors. So what this means is that everybody that invested in the Sharing Education Fund until April 2023, all these investors have already received in their accounts the 4% times 6 for the 6-year period, plus the initial investments that they have done in the fund. So because we did such a big distribution of dividends, the CMVM, which is the authority, it's like the SEC in the US, the authorities that regulates funds, they said, okay, because you did such a high distribution of dividends, you need to also remunerate the Golden Visas, even if the period it hasn't finished yet for their investment. So everybody that invested in the sharing fund until April has already received in their accounts. They have an escrow account here where they have received the initial investment plus the 4% per year. They can touch the money. However, if they touch it, they will not be able to renew the Golden Visa. But it's already in their accounts. It's already safe and it's already there. And something interesting that we did with this fund also, with the sale, is we signed an option agreement with them for them to acquire as part of our school in Madeira in 27. And again, when this happens, will be another distribution of dividends, and the Golden Visa investors will again get their investment guaranteed and paid back once this is done and the distribution is done. So our fund is very interesting because it from July 21 until today, it evolved very quick, and this fund already has its future written and signed of what's going to happen in the future of the fund, which again brings great guarantees for our investors and great security, and minimizes the risk for the investors. And this is a little bit what I wanted to share with you about the fund, just to share the team of the fund. So the fund is managed by Magnify, which is a fund management entity. As all funds obviously need a fund management entity, and the executive structure of the fund is me and my brothers. We are operating the fund and the schools and the projects in our different roles. The interesting thing here is we are very involved in the fund, very involved in the game. We always have skin in the game, and we're really doing our everything we can to maximize the fund and grow as much as possible, and in a steady and healthy way. And just to mention as well, obviously the fund is highly regulated by CMVM, which is like all funds in Portugal, which is the equivalent to the SEC in the US, and which regulates our funds and gives also more safety and guarantees to the investors.
Okay, Gonçalo, it was a lovely presentation, and we understand this thing that the investors, the previous investors, all have the investment money in their bank account. I think it's fantastic. It's fantastic news. It was a fantastic project. But I think whenever people talk about funds, and although you explained everything in detail, people always fear that it might not be safe, it might not be there might not be a buyback option. This 4% that you talked about, first question, is it safe? Second question, is the 4% that you pay to the investors netto or gross?
Yeah, so the 4% we pay to the investors is netto, so it's 4% per year on the initial investment. And the 4%, the reason why we guarantee the 4% is exactly to reduce the risk and give some safety to the investors. So it's a 4%. We sign when we sign with the investors, it's a 4% guaranteed per year. So it doesn't matter if the fund is producing results of 2% or of 7%. It's a guaranteed result of 2% per year, of 4% per year. Sorry. And this brings safety to the investors. Something interesting from the fund as well, that to give investors even more safety here. When we created this fund initially in 2021, from 2021 until today, so in roughly 2 years, our fund has the value of our shares has quadrupled in this amount. So this is something that's not common in a fund for in a 2-year period. For the Golden Visa investors, this is not so relevant because the amount that they have to invest is the same. That it doesn't become more expensive or less expensive, the shares of the fund. However, it just shows how resilient and how strong the fund has become.
So, but your timing was perfect. So you launched a fund and have a fund in full development in the perfect time where a new law entered into force and took out of the equation the real estate possibility for all those who want to come to Portugal but have the flexibility not to reside here. You had the perfect timing.
Yeah, it was in a really good timing for us, of course, and we're very grateful for that. We're open still for investments. Like all funds, we have a raising capital period, which will finish in the end of this year. So we have until the end of the year to finish our last rounds of fundraise and capital raise. So we are still open to capital until the end of the year. We have a limit of how much capital we can take until the end of the year as well. So I believe we will achieve this before the end of the year with the amount of people that are wanting to come to Portugal and with everything being funneled into the funds now. But it's a great opportunity for us. It's a great opportunity for the investors. It's a great opportunity for the students and the families, because now we have a stronger partner also with us, and we are more resilient, and we're able to grow more steady. So this is great news for all of us.
So, and what should a person do if they want to invest in your funds and your school?
Yeah, so we are very open to have a conversation. We give you more information about the fund, more detailed, go into any sort of questions or any sort of specifics that you would like to talk more about. But the advantage of investing in the fund is really how simple it is compared to real estate. Because investing in the funds, what happens is you do a transfer capital from your bank account, foreign bank account, to your Portuguese bank account, and then you do the transfer from that Portuguese bank account into the fund after, of course, we signed all the documentation. And this doesn't incur any subscription fees, doesn't incur any tax fees, doesn't include any fees at all, as opposed to real estate, which is really good. As the money that you transfer from your foreign account to Portugal is the same amount that you will invest in the fund with no hidden fees, which is great. And on top of this, the funds here in Portugal have a huge tax benefit. So if you're a tax resident in Portugal, you pay 10% tax on the dividends, which is very low for Portugal, as Portugal unfortunately is not the lowest tax country. So, and for people that are not fiscal residents in Portugal, so if you're a fiscal resident outside of the country, you pay zero on the country, so there's no tax withhold when distributing dividends, and then it's your responsibility to declare this income or this gain in your own country or in the country where you are a tax resident. So this is a great for the investors, as opposed to, for example, real estate, where you pay really high taxes and you pay title transfer fees, stamp duties, notary fees, a lot of fees that unfortunately is not the case with the funds.
You have to look for the investment, and then you have to look after the house and to make it profitable, to make this investable profitable. So,
yeah, you need to go check the area, choose where you want to buy a house. Obviously, investing in funds, and it's a much simpler due diligence.
Exactly. So I think it's a perfect timing, and it's a fantastic option now that the law, or the real Golden Visa law, will change soon. So for all those that would like to have a Golden Visa investment, and we understood how dear the problem was, because we received a lot of contacts when it was announced that the program would end. But it's possible, and this could be an excellent project for those who are still interested in the Golden Visa, that want a solid project, and that no longer so it's the perfect project, taking into account that a new law will come into force soon, and probably there is no time to do any real estate investment in these last days of vigency of the previous law. For those who be interested in this, please contact Gonçalo Sanches. I will do a disclaimer not to address all the questions you posed in the registry to our webinar, but we will answer them writtenly. And please, if you have questions about buying a property in Portugal, funds, Golden Visa, D7, D8, all types of visa, or any legal aspect, or any matter related to moving to Portugal, we will be more than glad to answer all your questions and provide you assistance. So nice to having you here, Gonçalo. I think it's a fantastic project. I think you are a hope for your project. Is something always gives some hope in terms of future of the country. I think you have a fantastic project. I would love to socialize in your parents' club, or to work there remotely with an ocean view. So till next time, please contact us if you have questions, if we didn't answer all your questions, because we'll come back to you, and we will set up Zooms to all of them that want to be clarified about our other visas, acquiring properties, Golden Visa, and any matters related to our services. Thank you so much, Gonçalo. It was great.
Thank you, Sandra, for inviting me. Always a pleasure.
The webinar. Thank you so much.
Thanks.